John Boyle, you want to kick us off?
Sure, Duane, how you doing? Just with the changes on the offensive line as kind of a veteran leader, how important is it for you whenever things get going and you're on the field to kind of help get this group together with so many new faces?
It's very important. Offensive line play, good offensive line play is a major factor. Is just chemistry, and continuity. We lost a big chunk of our starting pieces this past offseason. This offseason. So, we got some new faces. We got some guys that have been in the system. Got some guys that haven't been there. So just getting to learn each other, learning the terminology, communication, just learning how we do everything here. All of that stuff is important, So I'm doing what I can now, virtually, over text, phone calls, just to try to, build as much chemistry as possible until we're able to meet and physically go on the field and do stuff. And once that happens, we'll have a small window, to try to, build each other up as much as possible until the season starts.
Corbin Smith.
Hi, Duane. Last CBA, not this most recent one, but the last one, they restricted a lot of contact in the offseason. So that's had an impact on offensive linemen. But now you're looking at an offseason without OTAs or mini camps, most likely. What are the biggest challenges that incoming rookies and even the veterans that are new to the team are going to have to face just jumping right into training camp?
I think for rookies, just having no introduction at all to the NFL, you know what I mean? Not being able to be in a facility, to be around the players, to be in actual meetings, to be in a workout, to, kind of have any kind of OTAs to see how we go about our business. You just have to rely on information that you're given, and I've talked to a couple guys just about kind of what to expect once we are back and up and going. And, for veterans that haven't been around, it's just a different culture. You come from whatever team you're on, you kind of know what to expect year to year. So when you come to a new team, it's a different strength staff, it's a different training staff, the different coaches, meetings are different, everything is different, so you just don't have a feel for kind of what to expect and how things go. And so that's the main thing, and it's it sucks, not being able to do that. But that's the position we're in, so we have to make do with what we have. The thing about it is every team is dealing with it, so we're just trying to do what we can to do what I can to try to fill them in as much as possible on what to expect when it's time to go. And once we go to training camp, that's the most intense part of the off season, so you don't really have a buildup. You don't have a buildup of workouts and meetings and kind of a walk through, jog through tempo of practice. You're going straight to pads and full speed, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but we're all competitors, we're all professionals, and we'll get it done.
Thank you.
Greg Bell.
Hello, Duane. How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good, thanks. How's the knee? And did you have to do anything after the playoff game toward that end?
Knee's doing great. Didn't have any more work done after the year. Got it checked out and just got treatment done to it. And since then, just been working out, strengthening, keeping it strong, getting, moving around. This is a typical off season for me at this point. Not really nursing in it too much, so doing pretty good.
Is this almost a silver lining to this pandemic and not having to be up and around at OTAs, minicamp, just a little less wear and tear on it?
No, I mean, considering, where I'm at in my career, and I'd already discussed with the training staff and everybody, I wasn't going to be trying to prove much, during this time of year anyway. So, I would rather be in OTAs for sure. So, just being around everyone and trying, like I said, we lost a big chunk of our O-line. So just try to, be around the guys more and building that chemistry up right now would be better than, being here and off my feet.
in the past, you've made your statements protesting about the NFL's cause for police inequity and brutality. What happened the last couple of days in Minneapolis? Are we getting anywhere as a society? Are we just? Do you see any progress there?
No, not really. I mean, if you know the details of what happened, it's a tragic situation. Rest in peace to Greg Floyd. Prayers to his family and loved ones. Just an awful situation that could have been prevented. I feel like someone called the cops on him for potentially writing a bad check, and he ended up dying on camera. With unarmed and handcuffs. So I mean, it seems like things like this continue to happen every year at some point. I don't know when it'll change, but it's sad, man. It's sad, and I don't really know what else to say about it, but no, I mean, it's been happening for a long time, and we'll see what transpires from it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Let's go with Art Teal.
Hi, Duane. I'm wondering what your take is on the restart in terms of the kind of drug testing or the kind of virus testing that will occur, and to the best of your understanding, what do you think the Players Association wants to get out of this in order to restart the season?
I'm not sure. I mean, from what I've heard, it'll be a lot of testing done regularly, and just keeping as little contact from outside world as possible, I guess. I don't really know what to expect, regarding that. But everyone I've talked to, obviously this is a big part of our lives and something that we enjoy dearly and we want to get back to doing. With that being said, it's a very weird time we're in, and we don't really know what's the next few months are going to look like nationwide. So, you have to take as many precautions as possible. But for us, this is our livelihood. This is something that we love to do. So, and this is something that the nation wants to be able to enjoy again. So it's we don't know. We don't know, man. Whenever we are back, I'm sure, there'll be as many procedures taking place as possible to try to, get us tested regularly and keep us safe. But, I don't really know what to expect.
Just following up, can you describe your level of apprehension going into play as far as where things stand now?
Where I am right now, I think we'll be okay playing. I don't know about packed arenas or anything like that. That's things like that could get a little bit risky, or very risky. But I think we could find a way right now.
Thanks.
Curtis.
Hey, Duane. Hope all's well. I know you went through the lockout back in 2011 without an off season. It's probably going to be kind of similar to that. What was your kind of experience working through it, particularly on an offensive line, trying to build continuity when you've got at least 3 new spots, probably looking at new starters coming in? How big of a challenge is this going to be for you guys to get all on the same page?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? During the lockout, when I was in Houston, we were all living in Houston for the most part, and we couldn't get together as a team and organize stuff, but we definitely got together as individuals and as a unit, and we worked out together sometimes and things like that. So, and we weren't stuck in whatever city we were living in and without access to do things like as we are now sometimes. So, that was a little bit different. Right now everyone's kind of scattered all over the place. So you couldn't meet up kind of really if you wanted to, unless you're in a state that allows that. Right now, like I said, for the young guys that haven't been a part of this team, I'm doing my best just to kind of try to talk to them, kind of tell them what to expect. We're going over our playbooks. Any questions that anyone has, I'm answering for them. And whenever we're up and going, like I said, we just have to try to shorten the learning curve as much as possible to get that continuity. Again, we have a lot of guys that were in the system last year, so it probably won't be as drastic as it seems. But it still takes a little bit of time just to get that going, and OTAs and minicamp and things like that are essential. So we'll make it happen.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yep.
Brady Henderson.
Hi, Duane. Excuse me. Have you given much thought going into, I believe this is year 13, it's about how much longer you want to play? Do you have a goal in mind, or what's your thought on that?
Nah, I don't think about it too much. I'm telling myself, I don't want to put a number on, when I want to walk away. I'm enjoying it. I'm just this year, my goal is to stay healthy as possible, be out there every Sunday, and that's all I'm really concerned with.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Joe Fan.
Duane, did you ever need any work done on the bicep? And how was that as well? I know you mentioned the knee, but
yeah, I didn't get anything done to it. It's doing great. I've been working out and haven't really had any restrictions or limitations with it.
that happened pretty early in the year. How frustrating was it just to kind of have to, deal with that constantly and be in constant maintenance mode? And how much were you laboring through, pretty much every game last year once that bicep thing hit?
The bicep was, the first couple weeks, obviously, when I missed 2 games from it. And when I came back, after the first or second game, I didn't really have many issues with it. It did, having the maintenance hit throughout the year, as well as my knee, that was tough. I never really had to go through that, daily maintenance on just nagging injuries. But once I got through the first couple of games with it, I didn't really notice it much. And it didn't restrict me from, being strong or being able to be effective. So, yeah, but the first few weeks were difficult.
Thanks, man.
Tim Booth.
Hey, Duane. I'm curious, because you guys have so many new faces on that offensive line as part of that group. Have you done anything as a unit, unique or different to sort of build that camaraderie? I know, like earlier this offseason, the Jets offensive line was doing like some competitions with each other to kind of build that relationship with one another. Have you guys gone down that road of doing anything unique?
Nah, not yet. Nah, just conversation, really, man. Like, we haven't really done any challenges or competitions or things like that. Just conversation, just trying to get to know everybody, the people that haven't been around, trying to get to know them as much as possible. I think, that's kind of where it starts when you're trying to, build a good old line unit, is just knowledge of each other. So, I'm just trying to do my best to get to know everyone. And, but other than that, we haven't really done much.
And for the veterans you guys have brought in, not the young guys, but BJ and Cedric and those guys, what's your impression been of them so far through those conversations?
I think they're great, man. I think they're very excited to be here. I think they really want to be successful and compete and produce, so I'm looking forward to it. All those guys are different personalities, which I love. They got, a lot of experience, play a lot of ball. And they're just, they've been very just questioning a lot, just kind of what to expect from the team, kind of what to expect, in our division, things like that, and so, they've been great so far. I'm looking forward to working with them.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Chris Francis.
Hey, Duane, thanks for doing this. I'm curious, after the draft, John said he wanted as many grown men protecting Russell Wilson as he could get, which I guess explains all the turnover on the offensive line. But how would you characterize all this turnover? Is it just the business of football? Is it an indictment of your guys' play? How would you characterize it if you had to?
It's a business. You know what I mean? I don't think we've been, horrible up front, but, you had a lot of decisions that had to be made. Had a couple guys that were entering free agency. Could be salary cap casualties, with some guys, things like that. It's a lot that goes on, you know what I mean? And obviously I missed the guys that were here that are no longer here, but it's a business. I've been in this long enough to know that I don't take anything personal. I advise everyone else not to. And other than that, you have to be ready to go. Everyone landed on their feet in good situations. One is still healing from an injury, but other than that, you move on. You try to improve every year. You try to produce every year, and I think we got some solid guys that we brought in. I'm gonna do my best to bring them along, and learn from them and teach them as well. And that's all we can do.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Bob Condotta.
Hey, Duane. Just you mentioned trying to be as healthy as possible this year. Is there anything you can do at this stage of your career that's I guess different than in the past to try to make that happen at all? Or
one thing that I've worked on this offseason is just mobility, just being more flexible. I've a lot through my career. I've just kind of focused on speed, strength, quickness, things like that, and I've really been big on mobility this year, just being more flexible, working on my hips more, more body maintenance, being more proactive about my body than in years past. I work very hard. I work out a lot. I work out, 5 days a week. And so in doing that, especially the older you get, you have to match that with the same level of like physical therapy work and body maintenance, to not get your muscles too tight and things like that. So that's been a big point of emphasis for me.
And one other, did you have a thought on the CBA? Just kind of, I guess, a general thought on once it got approved, and did you think it was a good deal for you guys? Or
I'm gonna be honest with you, man, I wasn't as tuned into that as a lot of people. I knew some of the things that were going on. I thought it had some pros, it had some cons, just like every CBA that we have, so you take it for what it's worth.
Masvidal.
Yep. Hey, Duane, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Hey. No, good to see you. Hey, question, I know you're not there yet, but have you guys, how do you accelerate the process once you guys are together? I mean, have you given some thought to that? You've moved to different teams. Is it just the execution in the practice? How do you do that? Is there any way to do that?
I think you just kind of put in more hours than normal. And I don't know how we'll be able to do that. Training camp is, full days, but I don't know when we'll be back. I've seen reports that say we could be back in another month. So we don't know. So, but whenever we are, you have to put more time in meetings. Make sure you're seeing everything through the same set of eyes, answering any questions that someone has. Just because the thing with off the line, we try to communicate as little as possible. When you communicate a little as possible and you still know what each other's doing, that's when you've gotten to a good peak of being a good team. And when you're not, how a lot of guys are not familiar with the system, you have to over communicate, which can tip a lot of things that you're doing off to the defense. So we'll have to spend a lot of time in meetings. Again, execute and practice. It's going to be mistakes, but just trying to cut them as little as possible. I can't really tell you what it's going to be like, but once I get a feel for it over the first few days, then I'll kind of know where to go from there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, and then one last quick follow-up from Greg Bell.
Yeah, Duane, is it more yoga or what have you been doing for flexibility?
Yeah, definitely been doing yoga, just stretching a lot. Like I stretch probably 3 times a day for about, 15 to 20 minutes. And just with workouts, the workouts that I do, I was doing a lot of Olympic lifts before, and really hitting just large muscle groups. And now I've been hitting more smaller muscles, and just working my flexibility throughout my workouts, you know, instead of just going in doing bench press, squats, power cleans. You know, I'm working in smaller muscle groups and working in flexibility in, you know, in between my lifts, you know, to stretch my muscles out and not shorten them and things like that.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Duane, appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining.